In this lecture, we are going to study how can we develop a calculator like this using simple Python coding. Okay, so this is the calculator which you are seeing over here. Now, if you will hit any button, let's try and find out the sum of 7 and 8 through this calculator. So we need to hit this button 7 and then we can hit this plus button, then we can hit this 8, and let's hit this equal to sign and check out whether we'll be able to get the required output or not. So see, 15 is getting reflected in this input box. Now if you will hit this C button, let's see whether this thing is going to get disappeared from this text window or not. So we are getting the required output. Let's now try and find out the product of two numbers. So it is giving us the right result. Let's make it like this. If we'll define something, whether we'll be able to, we are able to find out the required output. Let's hit this 0, button over here. So two zeros have been added to this number. Let's make use of this divide sign and divide this number by 8. Yes, we are getting the right output. So this calculator is working perfectly fine. Now we are going to check the lines of course made use of for designing this beautiful calculator. In this section, you are going to develop a calculator using the Model V controller design pattern. So this pattern has 3 layers of code, each with different rules. The first is the model that takes care of your app's business logic. So the code that you are seeing over here is for the model which I have defined on this Sublime text. Okay, it contains a core functionality and data. For your calculator, the model will handle all the calculations. Fine. Now the second thing is the view. The view implements your app's GUI, this graphical user interface on which you are seeing all these buttons and all these functions. Okay, this I have made use of the view for implementing this GUI. Okay, it hosts all the widgets the end user would need to interact with the application. The view also receives user action and events. For your calculator, the view will be the window you will see on your screen. Fine, so this is the GUI which you are going to see when you will write down, when you will execute this whole code on a Python platform. Fine. The third thing is controller. So the controller connects the model and the view to make the application work. For your calculator, the controller will receive user events from the GUI. So this is the controller class. Let me show it to you. This is the controller class. Okay, so it is going to receive the user's event from the GUI, ask the model to perform calculations and update the GUI with the result. So if you will pass a value like this over here plus 6, and if you'll hit this equal to button, so this is what you will get as an output, 137. Fine. Similarly, if you will hit the C button, everything is going to go disappear. So this controller is actually connecting the model and the view together, and this is what is is receiving the user's event from the GUI and is asking the model to perform calculations, and then it is updating this GUI with the result. Fine. Now let's begin with understanding the coding part. These are the different modules and classes you need to import for making this calculator. So I have made use of this pyqt5 model for importing all the widgets required for making this calculator. Now how can you install this pyqt5? That's what we are going to see. So what you have to do before writing down this code, you need to come on this terminal of yours, and here you need to fire this command pip install pyqt5. So you need to install this module on your device first. Okay, let's now hit this enter button and check out what is going to happen. You can see I have already installed this pyqt5 on my device, so that is the reason this line is getting reflected over here, requirement already satisfied. But if you do not have pyqt5 on your device installed, so you guys can make use of this command. You just have to fire this command in the terminal of your device, and your pyqt5, the required module for making this GUI panel, will be installed on your device. So here we have imported the required modules and classes from PQT5 widgets. Okay, what are widgets? These buttons and this input text box which you are seeing, all these things fall under this category called widgets. Fine, the combo boxes, the drop downs, all these things if you want to see on this GUI panel. So this is the module, this is the class you need to make use of. You can import all the widgets from this PQT5 model. Okay, I have made use of this grid layout. Okay, this vertical box layout, it's because of this layout only these buttons are getting reflected in vertical columns. Fine, main window. So this I have made use of for creating the view for this GUI that you are seeing over here. Okay, and then you're going to use vertical box layout for the calculator's general layout. We can also use a grid layout. Okay, object to arrange the buttons. This is the layout which I have made use of for arranging the buttons. Finally, we need to import this line edit for the display. This thing, this line input box which you're seeing over here, it is coming because of this class which I have imported from this module pqt5.qWidgets. Now let's come on this Q main window. So this is the code which I have made use of for defining the view. If you will talk about this class, this is the subclass. Okay, and here I have made use of this init method. Okay, and this is setting the title of this calculator. The title which is getting reflected over here, it can be set with the help of this line of code which you're seeing over here. If you want to set the size of this window, so this is the line of code which you can make use of for setting the size of the window. Fine, and this vertical box layout is this vertical box which you're seeing. So all these buttons are placed in a vertical column. They are arranged in a vertical column. It's because of this vertical box layout I have defined over here. And then it is, in order to display this window which you're seeing and the buttons which you're seeing, these are the methods I have used. So this is for the display, and this method is for the buttons. Now this create display method, where is this method? It is here. Okay, so these are the lines of codes which are going to get executed when the compiler will call this method during the runtime. So what is happening inside it? Let's check it out. Self.display qline edit. So this is a line of code which is actually, this is the line of code which is displaying this input box which you're seeing over here. Fine, and display set fixed line height. Let's do one thing. Let's change it to 50 and 60 and check out what is going to happen to the view of the window. So that's how you can check your code. So see, the height of this input box has increased. Earlier it was 35 and now it is 60. So that's how you can play with the height of this input box. Fine. And then it is display set alignment. So with this I have set the alignment of all the components. Fine. And display dot set read only. So here, if you will try to write down something in this input box, you will not be able to do that. Why? Because I have set the read only property to true. So it's only here you can read something, but you cannot write down anything in this input text box, just because of this line of code which I have defined over here. Okay, try and understand each and every line which I have made use of for making this beautiful calculator. Okay, now let's come on this line, this function create buttons. This is a function which is actually creating these buttons over here. Fine, so for this I have made use of this grid layout view. Okay, and these are the various buttons, and these are the coordinates. The coordinate of this button is 0, 0. The coordinate of this button is 0, 1. The coordinate of this button is 0, 2. So the row is same. The row is 0 and the columns are changing. So that is the reason it is 1. Then for this the column number is 2. And for this the column number is 3. Likewise for C the column number is 4. But the row is same. So that's how you can define the coordinates for different buttons. Now this is for creating the buttons and adding them to the grid layout. This line of code which you are seeing over here. Fine. And set fixed size. This is actually fixing the size of the button. If you want to see them in 40 by 40 size, so this is how you can define a size for the button. Let's make it 80 by 40. Okay, now let's see what's going to happen. Let's cancel this build and build this code again on Python. So this is now the kind of button you are going to see. So now they are the size of this each button which is getting reflected on this window. It is of 80 by 40. So that's how you can play with the size of the button. Fine. Now let's come on this. Let's change this to 40 by 40 only. Okay, so this is the code which is actually adding these components, these buttons to this general layout. If you will make it a comment, if you will make this line a comment, now what is going to happen? Let's see whether we'll be able to see the button or not on this grid view. See, on this general layout, we are not able to see this button. So it's because of this line of code which I have made use of here, which I've defined over here, because of which the buttons are getting reflected on the layout, on the general layout. See, again now the buttons are getting reflected. Okay, so this is the second function with which you can set the text. Fine. And if you want to see, if you will write down something here, like let's say 7. Okay, 7 into 9, so it is going to give you 63 in the result part. Now if you will hit this C, what is going to happen? Everything will disappear. So this is a function which is actually being called when you are hitting this button, this C button over here. So this was the code which I have defined for this view part. Now let's come on the code which I have made use of for defining the model part. So this is the code which you're seeing over here. So here what is happening? I am catching the exception. If suppose while running, if this program throws any error, so for catching those error, these lines of code you guys can make use of. And finally, what is what this function is going to return us. It is going to return us the result. Fine. Now let's come on the third part, that is the controller part, which is actually connecting the model with the view. So this is the first function I have defined over here for inside this calculator part. So this is a main class PyCalc control. This is a main class. Okay, that's why this part is known as controller. Why? Because the main class we have defined over here. Now inside this main class we have got a function, initiate function, and it self.evaluate is equal to model, self.view is equal to view. So this is going to connect this view with the model through this code. So this code, what is this code doing? It is connecting the signals and slots together, means it is connecting the view with the model. Fine. Now comes this function, calculate result. So this is going to calculate for us the result, and finally the result which you are seeing over here in this input text box. If you will try and find out the sum of 7 and 3. So the result which you are seeing over here, it's because of this function which we have defined over here inside this calculator's main class. Fine, and this is for building the expression. If any error message needs to be reflected, if suppose while running the app we come across any error, so if that has to be reflected, so this is a function which will be called at the time when any error will occur during the running time. And this is the function which we have defined for this C button and equal to button. Now finally this is the client code, this is the main function. Fine, and here we have created an instance for the Q application. This is for calculator's graphical user interface, and this is because of which you are able to see this view over here. View.show is the code which I have made use of for showing this kind of view. And PyCal control, this function is getting called, we are calling this function inside this main function, and model and view, these are the two parameters we have passed over here inside this function. This line of code is for executing the calculator's main loop. Fine, so hope you guys have understood this whole code very well. Hope you guys enjoyed this lecture a lot. Please do like and subscribe to my channel, and also share the link of this video in your group so that the other students can also take the benefit of the free online coding classes I am giving on my channel. Thank you very much. God bless you and namaste.